or fingers, as we say here in Jersey.
Good. Yeah, I know.
Our fingers.
Your accent is a wonderful reminder of back home.
Is it really strong?
No, no.
Okay.
You get excited and
Yeah,
there it is.
yeah. Okay. So let me get started on this computer
Okay.
too, because we are live streaming and we're going to start. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Goldfish Report. I'm your host and researcher, Louisa. Today is Friday, June 28th, 2024. This is Goldfish Report number 1102. And this is Food for the Soul with our friend, psychic medium Mark Christopher Nelson, who is with me today to talk about geopolitical predictions. Welcome back, Mark. How are you doing?
Louisa, I'm good. Hey, it's great to be here. It's nice to see your smiling face. And yeah, I've had a couple of things bumping around in my head, and I'd love to talk about them.
Yeah, I mean, first I wanted to ask you your opinion about the debate yesterday, if you don't
Um,
mind.
no, no, no. Well, I think you have to trust what you saw to a degree. My impression was is that Joe Biden's mental acuity is significantly diminished. I think that there will be plenty of people spinning the story to tell us otherwise, but it was very obvious what we were seeing. And it's tragic for him,
Mhm,
and it's disappointing for every Democrat that wants to see his policies continue.
mhm,
I have to tell you too, um, about 2 years ago, I'm going to tell you, we talked about this off camera, but
mhm,
my wife Barbara and I went down to Jekyll Island and were in the exact room where the Federal Reserve was founded.
mhm,
You can tell little plaques everywhere. It's nothing fancy. It looks kind of just an ordinary, kind of a hotel room. I mean, it were like a meeting room at a very nice.
mhm,
What we heard is I'm sitting down and I feel like that again, everyone, in case you don't know, I do get people I mean, they're seldom famous. They tend to be just people that are relevant to the person I'm reading for.
mhm,
But this time I heard JP Morgan. It felt like this is JP Morgan. He was telling me that, again, a little over 2 years ago, that Joe Biden would not stay in office for his entire term. I felt like there would be a
mhm,
medical issue that would cause him to have to depart early, be forced from office. Felt like cardiovascular. To me, it was like a stroke or heart attack. Felt like it was and as tuning on this feels very much like a stroke. And so, I mean, I don't wish this on anybody. That
mhm,
doesn't, wishing bad things on people doesn't make you better, doesn't
mhm.
make us better.
No,
So
no.
that's what I heard. And
Mhm,
so when I saw the how his state of mind last night, it was just like, oh my gosh, this came up big. Oh, and it was even interesting. As I mean, I can maybe you and I can talk how I can share some of the video. But
okay.
Barbara put out this thing called a K2 meter. And what it does is it measures an EMF meter.
Yeah. Mhm,
And so we had it out and we started to talk. And in response to Joe Biden's mental acuity, his motivations, we were getting very strong hits.
and this was
So
last night or this was 2 years
two
ago?
years ago, over two
Okay,
years.
this was two. Okay. Mhm,
So to me, it makes me think that what we saw last night was potentially a strong indicator of
right.
his deteriorating health.
Mhm,
And regardless of what side of the world you are in terms of political affiliation, it's still, I mean, whatever you think of him, he's still a guy that I think is going to have a significant health issue, and that, or at least that is going to be
mhm,
how it's presented to us. I'm doing the
mhm,
air quotes.
right.
So that's how it is presented to us. And then what happens after that, um, my sense is that they're going to have trouble getting someone who wants to step up and run against Trump. There are some very ambitious people, and of course, in the Democratic Party, as in all
Mhm,
parties.
mhm,
Um, but when I look at them, I feel like, okay, Trump is in for most likely for one more term. That's the specified idea.
mhm,
People may have other ideas about that, whether it's the case. But if you try to act on what you know, you look at the way things appear to be going, that would be the case. So if I'm a ambitious Democrat, do I say to myself, you know what? I'm going to be entering into this race late. I'm going to come in with far less funding than Trump. Is it worth taking my shot now, or should I wait 4 years?
Hmm.
Now, there are always going to be, there will be someone who can be coerced or bribed or given incentives. Given incentives, maybe they're very much about service. I can't speak to this person yet, but my sense is that there will be incentives for them to do this. As a result, it makes me think that we may not get someone who is altruistically entering the race for the best interest of our country.
What do you think? I mean, just tell me if you get a feeling on this, okay? This is what you do. So what do you think about Michelle Obama stepping in? You think that's possible?
I don't think that she wants to. I think that she becomes a spokesperson. It makes my sense or feeling is that it's going to be an established politician. I feel like that she could go and do some very active campaigning. I feel like that the other thing I'm hearing is that part of her wants to stay out of the bright spotlight. I don't think that she's in a position. She may have um, uh, personal issues and rumors about her that she is going to be very much not in favor of having, again, the spotlight put on her.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's interesting that you say that. I just wanted to share something from X Twitter last night. You're right. I mean, we can see this cognitive decline. Let's take a look at this clip. No, that's not. This is the one. Okay, hang on a second. And then I have to make sure my audio. Yes. Okay, let's take a listen to this. No, that's not. This is the one. Okay, hang on a second. And then I have to make sure my audio. Yes. I don't know why I'm hearing. Let's take a listen to this. Weird. No, that's not. Hold on. This is up sharing. Were you able to hear me double? Because I was hearing myself double for some
I
reason.
thought I heard for a second. I wasn't sure what that
Okay.
was.
Wait, let's see if I can try that again. Hold on.
Okay.
This is up sharing. Were you able to hear me double? Because
That's really weird.
I was hearing myself double for some
I
reason.
thought I heard for a second. I wasn't sure what that
Okay,
was.
stop share. What's going on? Oh, I see what's going on. Hold on one second. I have to, yeah. All right, there we go. No, I have multiple windows open with the live stream so that I can monitor the chat. So I was hearing it. Okay, let's try it again. Here we go. Oh, hang on. Usually the technology works okay. But I'm just trying to find the window to share here. This is it. Okay. Sorry, just bear with me for just a second. You know, this technology stuff, gotta take your time. Now, I'm gonna try it again. There we go. Let's take a listen to this. Let's take a listen.
Donald Trump says he thinks overturning Roe v. Wade was a beautiful thing. Donald Trump says he thinks Roe v.
Yeah, it's definitely, he has problems.
There's a glitch happening in that head of his.
Yeah. Definitely, whether it's him or whether it's not. But what do we have here for this one? Let's see.
Maybe Hillary Clinton or even Big Mike. Even Michelle Obama. Sorry, I don't know why I said Big Mike. Back to you, Jake. Maybe Hillary Clinton or even Big Mike.
Yeah. So, oops. So moving along, right? It's all going to be.
Well, what I heard too is that it might be an issue of like getting into the race late, but getting into the race also too with far less funding. I'm not sure if Biden stepped. I said oh Biden. That was an accident. Oh Biden. If Biden steps back, do the funds still go to support the nominee who replaces him? I don't know that.
I don't know how much there is because usually the incumbent doesn't need quite as much. Here's another one.
She knows so long as she was denied. our freedom can never be
Who
secured.
does it better?
She knew so long as she was denied, our freedom
Wow.
can never be
Who
secured.
does it better?
Oh my God.
Let me tell you,
I love that kid.
the memes, isn't he cute? The memes are, I just have to share a few memes because, I mean, in all seriousness, though, they can't, you know, they're, the guy's almost comatose. I mean, he's got one foot in the grave and they're pushing him up there. Really, he should have stepped down quite a while ago.
Oh yeah.
No, but,
A snake. I'm a snake.
What the hell is this guy saying?
I'm a slithering little naked snake.
Jesus, Joe, are you retarded or something?
I'm so slithering and sneaky because I'm a snake.
I mean, they're just, you know, it's comedy. It's comedy, right? Like some people do that. And then here's like this one here, which was, these were just clips from, you know, this is
Eligible for what I've been able to do with the with the COVID. Excuse me, with dealing with everything we have to do with.
Malfunction.
Look,
Need input.
if
Malfunction.
we finally beat Medicare,
Oh, thank God. Medicare needed a good beating.
That's what he said. You know, so the memes came out pretty quickly after the debate last night. And then here's one from Dan Scavino. Let's see what Dan Scavino posted.
both how are you? Making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the COVID. Excuse me, with dealing with everything we have to do with. Look, if we finally beat Medicare, we're trying to provide housing for Black Americans. The impact on the choice, the idea that they're gonna. I'm not proposing that.
Trump is
Everybody,
really
they pay.
You know, I wanted to just point out here that Trump, okay, this is complete Sun Tzu. He rolls by the rule that never interfere with an enemy who's destroying him in the middle of destroying himself. And look at Trump. I don't know how he kept a straight face, but he knows how important all of this is. I mean, this is the job, this is the role he's in. But look at his face. He is so Sun Tzu there to, you know, you know, he's like, keep going, Joe, you're burying yourself. You know, you can tell he's thinking that, you know, and it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate, but why? This is like, some people are saying this is elder abuse, you know?
I kind of think so too. And then to have Jill come out, you said all the answers so good. You said
no, she said you answered every question.
Yeah.
As if, yay, you know, like, what is it, kindergarten?
Want an ice cream cone.
He does want an ice cream cone, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, here he is, was he getting the well, I hope I don't get copyrights for this.
Why is he reaching to his ear?
He was reaching to his ear because he had an earpiece. Somebody was telling him what to say. I just actually I don't think I should be playing them because I might get a copyright strike, unfortunately. Let's see. So that was the moment he lost, you know, I mean, there were many moments, but that was clearly the moment he lost the debate, was the whole, you know, yabba dabba doo.
Well, the other thing too is he brought up a couple of claims against Trump that have been proven to be hoaxes.
Right, exactly.
Hoax. Oh, what politician in his or her right mind would go in front of the military and then, you know, describe people in the grave in the cemetery as suckers or fools?
Right.
Nobody. I mean, that's just plain foolishness, and that's what he said, and I agreed with it.
Yeah. And not only that, you could tell there was a few purposes. There were some key words and phrases that were being used in this. This, just so you know, in my opinion, this was complete political theater.
Yes.
I think it was complete. Look, lights on, nobody's home. He just had that stare, that blank stare on his face the whole time. But like here, okay, so he talked about Putin not taking land or anything from Trump. Former president said relations with Russia during his time in the White House. He says that's a war that should have never started. He reiterated, I would have never started ever. And, and and of course, Joe Biden. Now, this is the thing. Trump going into this was under a gag order for these cases he's involved in. And it was obvious that Biden's camp was trying to get him and was trying to kind of dangle the carrot. Yeah, trap him. Absolutely. He tried it with the whole issue of, sleeping with the prostitute, hush money and all of that. And Trump came out and said, I did not sleep. I did not have sex with her. He said that. Now, think about if you have a jury pool, how that's going to sound. So let me say this. Let me ask you, I have my prediction, but I'm not psychic. I'm just trying to go through politics. I say Trump's going to get arrested based on something he's said, a violation of the gag order during the debate. It's a possible scenario. Do you get a read on that?
My sense is that I think that if that were to occur, it would only increase his popularity, which I'm beginning to think some of the people on the Joe's team are recognizing. They already tried calling him a felon. That didn't. Biden called him a felon, and that didn't really win him any points. That was another thing. So there was that. So I tend to think if they arrest Trump, it's almost going to make him, is that Obi-Wan Kenobi thing. It's like cut him in half, he comes back bigger.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it will certainly give him a great boost to his campaign for sure. It was political theater. I really think that this was meant to kind of wake people up because, as you pointed out, which was excellent to point out, there were many accusations that Biden made that simply were false. They were just categorically untrue. In fact, lies. And as a result of that, he is going to, Trump, you're right. These things have already been, let's say, adjudicated. And you know that these things are hoaxes, like you said. And so that was a big red pill, and he tried to look, the whole border issue was a very important one, talking about the murders that are coming across and all of this, and it was funny because Biden never had a response for anything, but he deflected all the questions into some other, it was like he's bad, he's bad, he's bad, he's bad, and it's unfortunate that this is the state of our politics today, isn't it?
Well, it is one thing too that a politician who is leaving 40 seconds on the clock, 50 something seconds on the clock, something that Biden did on multiple occasions, to me that's a weak approach to managing the discussion. Another thing to keep in mind is that Biden had spent the last week, at Camp David, as we've been told, prepping for this event. And then he shows up like, he's grandpa who has escaped from the senior citizens, the mental health board. And it's like, this is it? A week? You prepped him for a week? My God, what happens if something really comes up and we need someone who can make a powerful, an important decision?
Yeah. Yeah. And what's scary is to think that Kamala Harris could take over. That's a little bit scary too. The cackling hyena.
One thing I do hear about that is that I feel like that there's going to be, there are some seriously potentially good candidates who for the presidency within the Democratic Party, but I don't think any of them, I think they would rather wait it out because of Trump's personal strength, popularity, war chest. But anything, I think what's going to happen is that I'm feeling like at the very last minute, Kamala Harris is kind of forced into the role because of a unexpected medical issue with Joe. And so that's going, and that then they can then fall into what they call what is their identity politics. Oh, we have a powerful Black woman, even though she's Indian, I guess it is. running for office.
Close enough. It's good enough for
Yeah,
them.
and she can come with a Southern accent too. So
Yeah.
it makes her all the more, so
Yeah.
I know I'm sounding very biased here. I can't help
Mm,
it that some of this comes out, but my sense is that
mm,
they're not the Democrats are paying the price for some of the, I mean, oh, one other thing. They
mhm,
talk about defending democracy. Yeah, what did they do in their last time they had a
mhm,
primary? They
mhm.
basically kept Bernie Sanders from having the same clout. They
Right.
they forced Robert F. Kennedy out
Mhm,
of the party, and so they basically forced Democrats to look at Joe Biden as the only person who would be eligible, so to
mhm,
speak, for the Democratic office.
mhm,
And so and then they ironically pick like the eighth most popular candidate among the primary candidates for the
mhm.
Democrats in Kamala Harris. It's almost like they didn't want competition for Joe. They made sure there was no competition for Joe. I would think Robert F. Kennedy, even with his craggy voice, would be a far more compelling candidate
Right.
for the Democrats. But there were a lot of people that had a vested interest
Mhm,
in continuing to manage Joe.
mhm,
I'll let you talk, but my sense is that
mhm,
again, just my opinion, but I feel psychically that he is, and this is no great leap for anyone,
mhm,
very easy to control, very easily
mhm.
managed, and relatively compliant. But if someone makes an argument for him, he is force-fed decisions. So it's like, if you don't do this, Joe, everything will go bad. Okay, I'll do this. I
Yeah.
just don't see the mental
Mhm,
acuity in
mhm.
place that could help him
Right.
weigh the complex topics and issues.
And that's scary because right now and now this is what I feel part of the purpose of this debate last night was to, well, they always tell us what they're going to do. If we're not paying attention, that's on us.
Hmm.
But Trump repeatedly said we are very, very close to World War III.
Hmm.
And we are.
Hmm.
And that's scary when you see what we had to deal with last night. And so that's why I think that there will be, like, Trump has to be way out of the way. So he's not seen anywhere near um the disaster when it happens.
Hmm.
Whatever. Now, in our previous report we did, you did have a prediction of some things happening in society throughout society. Did you want to talk about
Yes.
that? Yeah.
Well, one thing I think in the early go, I mean, I have concerns about Fourth of July fireworks terrorist attack happening. I got this visual of gunfire amidst the fireworks. So if you are going to a large city, I would say enjoy yourself, be prepared, expect to have a wonderful time. I'm just feeling like this there is going to be
Mm,
this would be a very
mm,
opportune moment for someone who hates the United States to strike out at us.
mm,
And currently we have a lot of people. That said, I'm going to fireworks on the coast
mm,
down
mm,
by where I live.
mhm,
I feel like I'm not putting myself in harm's way. So
mhm.
I would say, with this in mind, be conscious of your surroundings. If something feels a little bit peculiar,
Yeah.
trust your own
Mhm.
spidey sense.
Spidey
Trust your own
senses.
tuition.
Mhm.
Okay. Because too
Was
many
that
times
in a
you don't want
particular
to.
city? I'm sorry to interrupt you. Was
Yeah.
that a particular area that you are picking
Yeah,
up
I
on,
think with
or
New York and then even DC feels like that while there's a lot of police force in place, I feel like that DC, I feel like New York is going to be um, a difficult environment to manage
mm,
terrorist activity, being that they have
mm,
had so many um, migrants show up. I don't call them migrants,
mm,
but for the
mm,
sake of the show, we will call them migrants.
yeah.
They are, and how many of them are vetted? Um,
Zero.
yeah, and how many of them could possibly have access to weapons? I mean, there's so much I mean, if anything, my doing this psychic work and then being conscious of the things I'm seeing, I feel like that we're only aware of like a small fraction of what we are told to watch, to see.
Right.
George Carlin, a long time ago, um, was quoted along the lines of saying, "Big media owns the news. You only hear what they want you to hear." I think we
Right.
all understand that, but it was even obvious to him all these decades ago. On my Facebook, I put up a post about that, and it's just like, it's true. We're only shown what the people who own and control the media want us to see, primarily, unless they tune into a lovely lady like you and they pay attention to what you're saying and what we're saying. Okay?
Right. Thank you. But yeah, I'm very censored. So it's when Julian, what did you think of the Julian Assange before we move on about his
I'm glad he's home.
release? Yeah.
It's time, and that of all of, I mean, when I think of the other people breaking laws, being dishonest, endangering the United States, Julian Assange, us,
Yeah.
he's a non-issue. I mean, if
Well,
anything, I mean, he's important, but relatively speaking, um, I'm glad he has back, and I hope he gets a day in court where we can all hear everything that
Right.
wants to share.
Right. It's not that he was exposing government secrets, it's that he was exposing government crimes. And that's why
That's a fine
they
point. I'm
persecute
going to call
him.
you on that. Secrets,
Yeah.
crimes. All right.
Well,
I'm teasing a little,
well, the
but
thing is, we can't turn our cheek and look the other way when
no,
the government is committing crimes and they're covering it up with the top secret or classified um category, so that you never find out. They say if the condition of his release was reported that he had to destroy all of his files. I mean, look, those files have been copied and spread all over the world by now.
sure. Yes.
And so that's not going to help the deep state.
No.
But the reason that they want this destroyed is because they don't want their crimes being outed. I mean, these are really horrific things these people have done in behind closed doors. They've used our tax money to do these things. It will all come out. I'm not gonna, I don't need to get any strikes on my channel for this, but yeah, it's all covered up under the classified heading, and so that, or it's destroyed with a bomb or something like on 9/11.
I do think
all
that,
the accounting for the missing $3-4 trillion or 21 trillion. I don't know. Who is it? Catherine Austin Fitts says that it's $21 trillion that's missing. But the day before 9/11, Rumsfeld announced it was $3 trillion missing that they could not account for. And then boom, just happened to destroy all that that section of the Pentagon, that section of Building 7 that had all the accounting for all the black ops projects that was funded. And that information they think is gone, but really nothing's ever gone if it's on a computer, right?
well, one thing to keep in mind
It's
too
in
is
the
that
net.
we're very fortunate. Joe Biden said there are over 1,000 trillionaires in the United States. So if we can't find 21, 24 trillion bucks, what's the big deal? One of these very big-hearted trillionaires, of which there are over 1,000, will probably step up and help out the United States. Yeah, I'm waiting for that to happen. Not
I think
really.
he corrected himself though. I thought he said billionaires. I thought he corrected himself.
Eventually.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, but still it's a lot of money, and you're right. Like, these things should be checked out. But so yeah, are you feeling like you said that you feel like it could come from these rogue elements that are within the country? Obviously,
Yes.
we're completely open, and that's the problem.
Mhm.
But do you think there could also be um a perfect time to exploit? So we're going to all be setting off fireworks, and maybe we'll be getting some rogue fireworks from
Yes.
up in the air,
I think that, I mean, to
from
me,
like retaliation for what we've been doing over in Ukraine. I mean, I know Putin's getting ready. He's off the coast of Florida. He's in Cuba. He's mad as hell about what we've been fighting him. We've been fighting Russia through Ukraine as a proxy. So I think at some point he's going to take matters into his own hands, and that's where this World War III situation scenario is going to come from that Trump is talking about.
Well, one other thing too is, what about all of the Palestinians who feel entitled to face our monuments, block the roads, take over campuses? They just didn't all. I mean, just because the news cycle has decided not to focus on them right now doesn't mean they all magically disappeared. They're still
Right.
going to be upset, and on a day when we're celebrating our country, they may be, arguing to free a country that doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm. Got it. Got it. Let me take a look at the one foot on the banana peel, the other in the grave. Thanks, Iva. Thanks for that. Destined for greatness. Hello. Hi, everybody. Look, if you're listening live and you're watching live and you want to have a question, if you have a question for our friend here, Mark Christopher Nelson, who is a psychic medium, and you're just joining us, please feel free to type it in the chat. If you type your question in the chat, Mark can possibly answer the question for you. And I'm not possibly, I know he can, or he wouldn't be on this show. He wouldn't be doing the show.
Related to a family member, or if you're facing a choice in your life, should I do A or B? I also heard a name just now, in case someone is listening. Feels like this was a woman in spirit, Joanna. If someone has lost a woman named Joanna, raise your hand. Let you know Joanna is saying hello. She's. I get the sense that I see her tripping, falling, and then it feels like a rather rapid passing. So if someone knows a Joanna and that she passed suddenly, it was a very physical, like, I mean, the manifestation was like she's falling. Okay.
Yeah.
One other thing I wanted to go to, we'll keep going, and I'll take any questions. Feel free
Okay.
to stop me. But I think as the year goes on, I've been encouraging friends, if you want to travel, to try not to travel too close to the end of the year. I know we're all going to go see family, but if you're planning a European vacation, or you're going to a place where the United States, there may be travel warnings, I would encourage you to be very, very conscious about the security measures you're taking. Because I feel like that we may not be a popular place. I also see potential for a rather vigorous civil unrest that could cause issues at airports, large public gatherings. I feel like that there are people in the country that are also not going to be happy in the event that Trump wins. There's going to be some rather significant noise being made. I don't think it'll be made by Republicans so much as the people who are here that may soon face deportation, or may not have their particular political views realized. And so it's really problematic. I also feel like, one last thing, careful around synagogues coming up soon. I know New York, New Jersey, and I also hear Michigan. So just be conscious.
Okay, thank you for that. There's someone with a question, destined for greatness. Thanks for joining us. The question is, will the US break up like the USSR did?
No, I don't think so. But there are going to be areas that are going to have more heated fighting. I feel like that would take a little time. I worry about what I used to call home, which is Los Angeles area. I see a potential for great problems there. I don't see us breaking up. I feel like that it's just, could there be significant fighting or civil unrest? Yeah, it's going to take. So we may look divided for a little time, but it won't last.
Okay. Let me ask you about the financial system. What do you see? What can you tell us about when you think this might kind of bottom out on us
I'm thinking
as
that
it's being predicted?
I feel like that we're teeing up a rather significant spate of bank failures.
Mhm.
I think that as we head into late summer, even
Mhm.
October,
Mhm.
we're going to see an awful lot of things go
Mhm.
bad quickly in ways that we can't
Mhm.
manage. We
Mhm.
won't be able to bail everything out all at once.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I really am of the opinion that if you can set aside some cash now, some food,
Mhm.
I get the idea that utilities may go down on occasion, be out for a while. If you have generators, if great, if you can have enough food on hand to last at least a few weeks.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I say this that it's like it's very likely not going to happen where you live, but it will be
Mhm.
happening within the United States. And I feel like
Mhm.
that the bigger cities are going to be the areas that have the most significant
Mhm.
problems.
Mhm.
And it's going to take a while for the US government to marshal forces,
Mhm.
uh, armed forces, and repair services in the needed amounts to re-control, re-hook up a city. So think of it as okay, I gotta hold on steady. I probably need put some extra gas in the generator, have it backed up. I have a
Mhm.
way to keep food cold for a while or food that's canned. Just do that. And water, water, water. Water goes
Yeah.
fast. I know
Yeah.
you've heard all of this, but I really feel like that
Mhm.
I'm
Mhm.
seeing um, violence like we haven't seen before here, other than say 9/11.
Mm. What about any kind of natural types of weather related phenomena? Can you see if you can get a reading on that?
Yeah. Well,
Like earthquakes, tsunamis. I mean, there are some people predicting a tsunami on the East Coast, and an earthquake out on the West Coast, particularly of a severe nature.
I do feel like that there will be, um, uh, I would say, I do see a tsunami, although I'm feeling like the problems are going to result in the Los Angeles area. I recently was there visiting. The
Mm,
idea that these huge
mm,
concrete um, areas where it's just all concrete roads, very little green, it's going
mm,
to suffer in
mm,
in an earthquake. There will be a lack of food, a lack
mm,
of ability to move things in and out. So I see that. I also get the sense that on the East Coast, the idea that there would be flooding, and I would say, I know we're all being told, I think we're being prompted to expect a severe hurricane season. I do see
mm,
people, you know, uh, I do think it is going to be significant. I see people, Florida, Georgia, walking around with a lot of flooding. I
mm,
feel like people I
mm,
see walking around in what would look like warm summer clothes or
mm,
light summer clothes up to their knees and waist in water.
mm,
So I feel like that is very likely. I'm not
mm.
seeing an earthquake here. I'm seeing tropical depressions that just stick around. That's what it feels like
Oh,
to me.
oh, I see. Uh-huh.
And they can be devastating, the flooding.
Absolutely. The storm surge is really what does it. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, my town was underwater, like 6 to 8 feet underwater. The whole, you know, town, not in the area I live, but
Yeah, I remember.
um,
I've
yeah,
got family
yeah.
in New York, New Jersey.
Don't want to talk about where it is, but where I live, but
This
specifically,
area, the
specifically the general area. Yeah, that's why I just say like the New York area. It's better. So
metro, the greater New
metro.
York metro. Okay.
Do you see flooding in New York City? I mean, is there any
I
way
saw it
that
more, I saw more like
more like southern coastal
more
areas? Yeah.
southern coast.
Hmm.
That's because you know what it was? I saw a lot of green. Saw
Okay.
lots of green. So, and it's just like in
Mm.
the wrong places, all this water in the wrong place.
Uh-huh.
Can New York be inundated again? I don't think we're going to see. I mean, I'm not seeing it.
Mhm.
Again, I
Mhm.
reserve
Mhm.
for everyone listening, I reserve the right to be wrong.
Mhm.
I'm just not seeing, and I try to give you what I get.
Okay.
What I get are these like really bad floods that seem to go way inland and then take a long time to dry out, and then the
Right.
health problems
Mhm.
afterwards are pretty
Mhm.
significant.
Someone's asking if you can get a read on whether we're going to go back onto the gold standard. Obviously, if we have a war, we're the market's going to crash. That has to happen. We have a new financial system. So
Mhm.
just seems like these events all have to happen. I don't know why in such a way, but we can't just have a changeover to a new system. Like it has to crash first or something. I don't
I
know.
do see significant crash. I can't tell you if I'm seeing going back to the gold standard. I understand the reset importance of that and
Uh-huh.
the importance to our country. How do
Mhm.
we reestablish the dollar as
Mhm.
in our economic system? I
Mhm.
I just don't see that happening specifically going back to gold. What I
Mhm.
see is having like I think going cashless as a society is a mistake. I feel like that they want to they
Mhm.
being the government, banks want to control us. They want to know where we spend our
Mhm.
money, and I think that that's a mistake. We
Mhm.
have to have a certain, but if everyone just says, "Sure, I'll go along with it," then
Mhm.
we get what we deserve.
Right. The CBDC is well, in my opinion, it is the beast system. It will entrap us. And if you're not happy, if the government's not happy about your opinions, or if they're anti-government opinions, or I mean, it's really what's happening in China right now. It's
Mhm,
already developed. It's already a system that's being used.
mhm,
Then you can't travel. You can't Um, they're trying to implement these 15-minute cities. We'll see. They're already trying to tag all the cattle so they can completely micromanage the cattle, and farmers aren't having it. They're not happy about it. This they'll shut off your bank account. I mean, if they don't like what you're saying. And what's very scary about this is that the kids, so this is a process called demoralization
mhm.
via ideological subversion. So they've spent at least let's just say it started a long time ago. I mean, it started with the baby boomers. It started with the women's lib movement. The first
Mhm,
it wasn't really to give women any rights. It was to get them out of the house to earn more money so that they can generate more taxes.
mhm,
It was
mhm,
also to start destroying the family, start allowing the family, the children, to look to the state as parents.
mhm.
Parents par trois, they have the law already. The state can come and take your children without any recourse, because that's the system that we live in. Uh, until it happens to you, you don't really, you think we all have rights. Well, you walk into a courtroom and ask yourself if you have rights at the end of the day.
Yes.
If and it's a rude awakening. I mean, I do know that there's the so in a way, this is what this debate was about last night. It was about um getting people prepared for what's coming. So that's why
Mhm.
Trump talked about, in the way he did, talked about the World War III scenario that's going to be playing out. Will it be nukes, bombs? I mean, this is what I'm worried about. I'm worried if you see a nuke or something on Fourth
Well,
of July. Do you see a potential nuke? Is that
I'm
what
not
you were referring to?
not there's a couple things.
Okay.
I feel like I see small arms attacks by
Mm, mm,
waves of guerrillas. Here's the
mm,
other thing. And I don't know if this is wishful thinking on my part, or I feel like this psychic message is that I feel like that Putin will rattle his saber, but I don't think that he feels that he can win a nuclear war with the United States, or that there would be such hardship afterward that no one wins the war. And so my sense is that I mean, this is what I'm hearing,
okay.
and I'm hearing that he sees people within the Biden administration who are willing to roll that dice to have a nuclear war.
Yeah.
Then he looks at Trump,
Mm,
who feels like
mm,
someone they can have a more negotiated agreement
mm,
with.
mm,
So my sense is that Trump
mm,
makes the case that, we don't have to go to war. We're not going to threaten you. There's no need for you to threaten us. Let's work on
mm,
improving the
mm,
standard of living for more of
mm.
your citizens and ours. All right.
Um, you just echoed a familiar quote from a Kennedy speech, and it was armies by day and guerrillas by night. That was the Secret Society speech. I mean, that's why this is why this is on the top of my channel here. Actually, you don't see it, do you? Oh yeah, you do see it here. So let me just screen share this so that, of course, this is a special place. Everybody has a special place in their heart for the Kennedys, okay?
Mhm.
Here he says, for we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies on covert means, which is what's happening right now, for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific,
Mhm.
and political operations. So this is, I mean, you can go through this and click every single one of those lines.
Yep.
This is, he knew the enemy, he knew this plan. This is, not a mistake. So, this was the plan that they had, was the 16-year plan to destroy America through 8 years with Barack Obama and the remaining 8 with Hillary Clinton, which she did not get to fulfill. Donald Trump
No.
won. They thought she would never lose, and this is how their plan was to destroy United States. So without getting too far into that, you can go, to my Twitter page and check that out for yourself. Let me just check on the live stream and see if anyone has a question.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. No, I don't see anybody else right now with a question.
Well, one thing
Maybe you have I like to highlight your skills because you're very good. And then sometimes, and what was funny? Last week, no, 2 weeks ago, you told me something about my wrists,
Mhm.
and I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. Lo and behold, I started having like these pain in my wrists, and I was starting to massage them a little bit so that I could get. He's so good. You're so good at what you do.
All right. Oh, stop it.
You
Stop it
are
some more,
so
will
good.
you? Stop
No,
it some
but
more.
the thing is that you can't always get validation as soon as you do a
No.
reading, because people have to kind of, when it's like a prediction, you have to wait for it to happen. But then when it's and a lot of times it is like you can see things happening or coming, right? Whatever.
Mhm.
And so and I'm always like, "Ah, Mark told me this, Mark told me this." And this is how people experience this, because sometimes you can get a confirmation immediately, but sometimes you can't, and you have to wait for it. And that's
Yep.
just how it works, because you don't always know if it's present or future. You get the energy. Maybe sometimes you can tell, but maybe sometimes it's ambiguous. I don't know. Is it sometimes ambiguous to you?
Oh, well, you know what? The timing can be difficult, but I, s- it's funny. To your point, I told this one friend of mine that you need to watch. I see you slipping on your porch, hurting your ankle. So what do you do? How do you operate with that information in a constructive way?
Yeah,
Sure you salt your porch. Don't let ice build up. If
right.
it's icy, go a little slow. And
Yeah.
so she said, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. And then a year to the day of our last meeting, she slipped and broke her ankle on her porch. And
Oh
then
my,
she's like, you're just creepy. You're really, that was really creepy. I have to call you. And it's like, she was so urgent about it. And it's like, I'm not trying to wish anything bad on anybody. It's not a
it's
wish.
not
It's
that.
like
Yeah.
it's just like I see these little movies drift by.
Mhm. Yeah.
One um
Interesting. Yeah.
one thing I wanted to say too is no, Louise and I are talking about a lot of things that are disconcerting, worrisome. Barbara, my wife, and I sit in the front porch and we go, or like our back porch, what can, you know, two people where we live out in a very, we're not involved in government. We're not
Yeah.
involved in how do we um, participate, be supportive of the spiritual battles that are occurring. So
Right.
I would just say try to be conscious of like the small decisions you make, the private decisions you make,
Mhm.
the thoughts. It doesn't mean that you become paranoid or overthink everything, but try to be conscious of your connection to the divine. Am I doing something? I mean, I, I pray
Mhm.
because I'm almost afraid not to.
Yeah.
And I don't operate in a fear. That sounds like it's
Mm,
all based. It's not.
mm,
I
mm,
feel like I would encourage everyone. You're not sure what to do. You're not sure how to handle this. It
mm.
feels like this is way above my pay grade. How am I supposed to deal with covert organizations? Well, pray.
Exactly.
I think that is important. I do believe if
Mhm,
you believe in energy work,
mhm,
being focused on positive, loving things is energy work.
mhm, mhm,
So look at ways that you can
mhm,
shape, influence, uh, support, improve the energy that you exude
mhm.
and the people that you interact with. Try it.
Well, since we're no, it's a great and this is why, I will talk about the geopolitics a little bit because it's relevant to what we're going to face. And if you know something's coming, you can prepare so that you don't
Yes.
have the trauma, you don't worry as much. That's really the whole point in bringing this stuff up and, to be prepared. So if you know something's coming, then get prepared. Like you said in the beginning of the program, stock up, get extra water, get extra food, extra medicines, get some
Mhm.
extra gas for, generator if you have it, whatever, so that you don't have to have you can minimize the hardship that that we're gonna, potentially go through here. But since we're waiting,
Well, can I throw
and,
one
and
thing out real quick that came up in
yeah,
a
please.
two
Yeah.
readings this week?
Mhm,
I heard that I had two clients that were diabetics
mhm,
and they needed to keep their insulin cold.
mhm,
So if you have a family member who's diabetic,
mhm.
um, please do what you can to make sure that they have some alternative means of keeping their insulin stabilized. Okay.
Okay,
So that
that's
might
good to
mean
know.
getting any kind of medication for that matter, but in particular, this week, insulin showed up. So, all right, be good about that.
Okay.
Be conscious of it.
Mhm,
But even if you get a little cooler that you run on batteries or you have a generator, make sure that you have a way to keep that
mhm,
cooler cold with those
mhm,
vital medications.
mhm,
Otherwise, all the water in the world won't
mhm.
matter if you go into diabetic shock or your
Okay.
mom does. What do you do?
Uh-huh.
And there's
Right.
a general unrest around you.
Okay.
Good luck.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, since I'd like to do a little bit more reading. I don't have any more questions in the chat, but let me go ahead and ask you because I'd like our viewers who will watch this, after the upload.
Mhm.
Is there anyone on the other side that has a message for me? Could you
All right.
let me know?
All right. The guy that still steps up quickly is Johnny, John, uh, a slim guy. I get the sense that he was kind of a fun person to be around. All right. He wants me to tell you, it's like, oh, when you feel like you're being I mean, he feels like he would be a good guy to have at your side during a difficult time. He wants me to tell you that I feel like that he's showing me that you have everything seems to be relatively calm at the moment. You've got things under control, calm. He says one thing too. Um, make sure that you have all of the locks to the back of your house. I don't know if you know, sometimes you live in a place a long time. Maybe you have everything keyed properly, maybe you don't. Make sure that your kids have the keys they need so that in the event that you lock something, you're locking it from the inside, they can come in. If you're locked on the inside,
Yeah.
they need to come in. I'm hearing make sure that you have all your keys up to date. If something is a little rickety, get that checked out, okay? But
Okay.
and make sure everyone has the matching sets of keys so there's no one left in the lurch in the event that you're stuck in the house, you have an issue, someone else has an issue. Key
Mm,
locks. Oh,
okay.
um, the other thing I'm going to ask you to do too is for your car, you know, it may seem like overkill, but keep an extra 5 gallons of gas in your garage in the event that if there's widespread power outages, pumps are gas, but they run on
Right.
electricity. So if you can't put gas in your car just have that as a backup. All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Mm,
what else? In terms of that person in your life that gave you some difficulty previously that we were talking about off the air, I feel like blood pressure is an issue for that person. I feel like I'm seeing this go up, down. So if you, I would say it's more his issue than anyone else's. He'll pay the price for that. Um, Also too, I feel like your daughters have, you have your children have to pay attention to um, I don't know that they take some of your concerns about security as importantly as you do. You might just want to reiterate that, things can go wrong. 9/11 really did happen. Many people were put in a bad spot. Just to have a little conversation so they're not frozen in place and make sure that the plan, and I would say this goes for everybody, if you don't have a plan for, getting together with family, just have that conversation. Who would you call? Would you call someone out of state? I know that I tried to make phone calls on 9/11. The phone systems all went down and nothing flat. So if something goes badly, try to make calls quick as you can because then the lines will be overwhelmed rapidly. When I see you, Louisa, though, I feel like that I'm seeing you being safe. I'm going to go back to Johnny saying yes, yes, yes. Like it's almost like you're smoothing the bed out. Everything is going to be fairly orderly. I feel like that you do have things, I would say, in control. I also get this goofy, annoying visual of like a bill stuck in your like mailbox. Funny. It's almost like, how did I miss this bill? How did I miss this bill? It's almost like you have to look in the mailbox see something. So I would say just make sure that you don't miss a bill. I don't know why the bill shows up. It feels like a fairly important paper or document that you would normally take care of square away. I feel like something gets stuck inside and that it causes you to miss what might be an important notice. So and this can be a metaphor too, as to just make sure that you've got your billing in order so
Okay.
that nothing gets caught off guard. I feel like that there's a lot of fear and worries these days about insurance. So I want to ask you to make sure that everything I get about you is that you're very well, you're organized. You've got the big things in place. Just make sure that, again, specifically on billing, that there's nothing that could get stuck somewhere. And it's like a fluke. It wouldn't normally happen. So this could also be pay very close attention, make sure that you have all of your uh, yeah, well, just being conscious of passwords, making sure there's no compromises. It seems like every day, all of our information is for sale on the internet 3 different ways. I would just encourage you to it's like this goofy visual. How else could a bill stuck, in like if you have an old-fashioned metal box
Yeah.
somewhere, just if something come through the way it normally would, even if you get electronic bills, make sure it doesn't go into spam. Like if you've gone paperless, that's what everyone wants you to do so they can get into your bank accounts in a hurry. Make
Right.
sure that something hasn't slipped into your spam because it can.
Mm. Okay. I'm taking notes here. I have a lot of people who crossed over. I'd be,
Okay.
I know I've had conversations with them about when they cross over, they better contact me. I'm surprised sometimes I don't see them. I don't hear them come
All
by,
right.
but
Liz, is there a Liz connected to you? I feel like I'm hearing Liz, Elizabeth. Liz feels like you know me. Feels like a friend. Liz, Elizabeth, feel like she shows up. Um, uh, I see someone. If Liz isn't correct, I feel like I see someone that had more of a neurologic issue. It's almost like they didn't have a heart attack, but it was almost like their body stopped working correctly. They've lost mobility. They seem to be almost frozen up, um, stuck, not in a good place. Again, are they having neurologic joint pain disorder? Is it ALS, something like that? I see someone that really does look like I was not able to move at a certain point, and uh, feels like it was a fun, lively voice that was silenced by an inability to move very well.
Mm.
So Just think about it. But she says, I'm
Mm.
really good. She steps up now, like very animated. I'm in much better shape. The other thing, too, anyone listening on this show,
Mm.
I'm thinking this is for you, but I'm seeing
Okay.
someone, if you're listening to the
Mhm.
show, you have a friend that had a unfortunate passing where they just basically lost the ability to move, and that it was such a dichotomy from how they lived their life. You hear Elizabeth, Liz, L, strong L name.
Mhm.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. There's a interesting. Okay. I do know of an L name, but it wasn't that one. But yes, it is an L name.
L,
Hmm.
L,
Yeah.
L, L. I know you're Louisa,
Yeah.
but I mean,
No, no, it started with L sound. Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
So she shows up as just saying, it's like, there's this funny dynamic. I'm okay. I'm really good. Don't worry about me anymore. I know you did. I know that it's like her voice fell silent at the end. Everyone does. I mean, you don't get a chance to talk the very last second,
Mm.
but it's almost like she's saying we were cut off. Communication was cut off. I'm. I want you to know I can. I'm stepped up. Uh, my. I get this visual of her wanting to walk around you, so it makes me think that she lives somewhere around you. I'm going to this around
Hmm.
you thing. Okay.
Hmm.
Um, think about who that would be, and for everyone listening to, our loved ones don't come across saying, "Oh, my hip still hurts. Oh, I have a headache. It won't go away even in death." No, those are associated with the body.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're able to let go of that, and it's like, "Oh, what a relief! I no longer feel this. I'm no longer suffering.
Yeah.
I'm
Hmm.
also able to think more clearly." Um, so much of what we suffer through with loss of cognitive skills is
Hmm.
associated with the body deteriorating, coming apart. When you separate it from it, your
Hmm.
consciousness survives the
Hmm.
body, you're
Hmm.
better.
Hmm.
And you're not suffering in the same way.
Hmm.
And it even goes for people who died of, say, a
Hmm.
drug problem, if they had trouble with
Hmm.
drugs or a substance abuse
Hmm.
issue,
Hmm.
it's almost like, whoa, I'm so glad that is off of me.
Yeah.
So,
I do have somebody with a question. If you can take one more question.
sure, I'll take one more.
Okay. Heidi is asking, she says, we want to move from California to Virginia. Plan was already in springtime, but for some reason there's always a delay. Is
Mhm.
there anything that you can tell Heidi about this? She says,
Heidi, keep going. Sometimes there's sticky elements that you could interpret as a sign that you're supposed to stay when in fact you're not. See them as other ways to, in a way, it could be you're being protected from having these things go wrong later. I'll give you this one goofy example. We moved from California to North Carolina. We literally had the car packed up. We're ready to go. We're in the garage. Let's go, honey. We turned the key to the ignition and it did. It was dead. The battery died. And so we had to take the car out and we're
oh,
like, is this a sign? I mean, we're literally,
yeah.
the trucks have left. We've got everything. We're going to my mom's house to see her before we go. Battery died. And so what I came to understand is that it's better that we had the battery die in the driveway than somewhere out in the middle of nowhere
Absolutely.
in Arizona where it would have been 100 degrees
Mm.
plus, and no one could have repaired the car. We got the car
Mm.
fixed in 20 minutes. We
Yeah.
had one we had to pull apart like the
Yeah.
front console to get to the battery. And so
Wow.
I mean, I can go and replace a car battery. There it is. Doot, doot, put it, fix it. But this one, you had to actually pull apart part of the car in order to get at the battery itself. So this was a total blessing. Back to you, Virginia. See these things as stuff that you need to square away before you hit the road. Then
Yeah.
go.
Thank you. That's good. Good to know. I like how you had said sometimes it's for your protection to avoid some later disaster that you couldn't foresee.
Mhm.
So sometimes it's your guides, right? Just kind of
Mhm.
throwing a wrench in things to not to stop you, but just to, to delay you for a reason. So I don't know. I hope that was helpful, Heidi. You can always let me know in the chat. And I want to thank everyone who is joining me. Please tell your friends about our Friday night reports with psychic medium Mark Christopher Nelson, who joins me on Friday nights at 8 p.m. to take your questions. It's open to the public, and he's kind enough to donate his time to give free readings. And so, it's really definitely a wonderful way to get to know him. And if you wanted to book a reading with him, I'm getting to that part right now. I'm going to screen share Mark's website right here. If you are interested, you can, let me screen share this. This is the website. It is marknelsonmedium.com. And so here's,
look at that lady there.
Thank you.
Who's
Thank you.
that?
Yeah, I appreciate you putting those up there. That looks great. Yeah. Into the
My
deep.
pleasure.
These are food for the soul. Yeah, actually, I should give you the icon for the, I'll give you the thumbnail so you can upload that thumbnail. You can do that.
Wonderful.
With the thumbnail, yeah, actually, so that you can have that instead of my face up there. You don't need my face.
I don't
like
mind
that.
seeing your face, but we'll take the other.
I'll
So
tell you, it's so funny. But Mark, I just enjoy doing this, and I know sometimes we have Vicky Werner join us, and it's always a pleasure when Vicky is able to join us. She's not able to this week, and hopefully she'll be back. And we'll continue doing other reports with Vicky as well, because the spiritual side of things, that's why I asked Mark to do another reading, even if it was just for me, just because it is amazing. It's truly a gift that Mark has, and it does give you a sense of comfort. I think I know who it is that he was referring to, and when we, when we end our report, I am going to ask him about it, or tell him about who I think it is. More like that, but this is what happens. Sometimes you don't know, what causes somebody to pass, and you don't know if it was painful or troubling in some particular way. Sometimes, as you said in the beginning, sometimes people pass very quickly, and it really went very quickly, and there was no pain or suffering involved in it at all. Other times, they could suffer for a while, which is difficult on everybody. So I just want to thank you, Mark, for joining me this week. It's always a pleasure to see you and to hear your predictions and your readings. I do enjoy it so much. So thank you so much for joining me.
Louisa, thanks for having me. You're fun to talk to. In case you didn't notice that, everyone should.
I like to have a sense of humor, I really do. I mean, and why not? Why not? Satire is we need to laugh. We need to keep our vibrations up. We need to keep joy in our spirit and our soul, and that's why we call it food for the soul. So we hope to see you guys next Friday, 8 p.m. Have a great week. Be safe. 4th of July will happen before we see you again. If there's something major that happens, I will do a live stream breaking news report if it is something that's of a major event. So thank you for everyone who's watching, everyone who's going to watch us after it's uploaded. And again, it's marknelsonmedium.com. So we'll see you all next time. Thank you for joining us. And this concludes this edition of the GoldFish Report.